Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, today I'm gonna do the Sims book tag, which I know nothing about. I don't play Sims. My ex and I was just thinking about this before I did this tag. He and I used to play Sims when Sims like first came out, and we were like completely obsessed with it. And I don't know anything about it now. Like, I know that like people recreate words and they have codes and all this kind of stuff. They go in and they change that. And I think the whole thing sounds very, very cool, but I'm not technological at all. So that is why I will never probably be playing The Sims again unless it's like, I don't know, some iPhone app Sims game. But I did want to do this because I watched Jesse the Reader's Tag and I thought it was really cute when he did it. And so I went in here to look at the original, which is from Haley at Haley and Bookland, and Bookland, like Oakland, but Bookland. Bookland, and so I went in here and I liked the questions. So I just read like the first two questions because, like you know, I don't like to know a whole lot about the tags before I do them because I want to give genuine and authentic answers that aren't contrived. And I go, and I pull some book that I haven't read in like 10 years, right? So let's get right into this, shall we? There she is, so cute, Haley. Okay. Number one, the original Sims, the best author debut. Well, so I have two. There's a tie, right? Which is Julie Murphy's Dumplin' and Angie Thomas's The Hate You Give. But The Hate You Give is such a profound, important novel of its time that I would definitely say The Hate You Give. If you watch my channel regularly, you know I like work it into like almost every tag that I do. I love that book. I feel like everybody should have to read that book. I think it's so important for our times right now. So for me, that would be Angie Thomas's The Hate You Give. Okay, number two, The Grim Reaper, the saddest character death. Oh God, that's a really good one. The saddest character death. Well, like I don't want to say because like what if you haven't read the book? So what can I pick that everybody has read, right? I would say Gustus Waters and The Fault in Our Stars. Like, I remember sitting on the front porch, like, reading that, and actually, and I was just bawling my eyes out, right? And I know The Fault in Our Stars is rather trite these days, but still the book, it got me. And I have to tell you, the part of the book, the part at the funeral that really got me the most was not so much his death or the funeral. It was when the other author, whose name I can't remember now, the author that she loves, that lives in Amsterdam, when he showed up to the funeral. That, like, for me, was the part of the book that just, like, I don't know, it just really threw me, right? And I was so waiting for it in the movie, too. And it wasn't done as well in the movie, but it was still done in the movie. And I remember when we left, my husband's not a super emotional person, and he said, he was like bawling through the whole movie. And he said, why didn't you tell me it was like so sad? And I was like, did you not know what it was about? He was like, I had no idea what it was about when I was going into it. I just thought it was a rom-com. I was like, no. So number three, Sims getting stuck. A character that just got in the way. Oh my God, so many of them, right? So many characters of books that just have no purpose, I feel like. That's really tough. I'm trying to think of something that I've read recently. Okay, so I keep on going to Benjamin Alirstein's The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, which I said something negatively about in a video the other day, and a couple people were like, I really loved that book. I loved the book too. I just didn't think it was as good as other pieces of literature that I've read of his. Like, you know, for me, honestly, and I love Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, but for me, Last Night I Sang to the Monster is my favorite piece of his work. Like, I mean, it's just fantastic. And if you've never read it, definitely go try it. It is an addiction treatment story, and it's just absolutely fantastic. In The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, it's about a main character whose father is gay, and I would say what's interesting to me is that grief as a character kind of gets in the way, because the book, I think, would be so different if it wasn't like constantly dying characters and constant grief, which I understand is the overwhelming message of the book, but it's kind of overplayed a little bit. So I would say grief as a character gets in the way. Like, I think it could have been done and he's too fine of an author as well. It could have been done in such a sublime way that it didn't have to play out that, like that way, if it makes sense. So yeah. Okay, let's see. Come on, girl, pull up. Okay, number 4, Simlish, a book with amazing writing. A book with amazing writing. Oh, well, I'll tell you what I just read that I thought was absolutely beautiful, was All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. I thought the writing was just absolutely incredible in there. It reads like a telenovela. Oh, little Pee-Pee, he's making a little appearance. Pee-Pee, what are you doing? Are you smelling the candles over there? He said, Dad, you used to put me in videos all the time. No, you don't ever put me in videos. He only reads Daniel Steele and Debbie McCalmer. Don't judge. Okay, so anyway, I was super impressed with how beautifully the book was written. It reads like a telenovela, but it's very funny at appropriate times. And like, there's this part where like when she's explaining characters and she's like, if let's say she's talking about me, she would say, the thing he wanted the most was 1,000 views on his video. The thing he feared the most was losing all of his teeth. But it's very funny how she does that. Like, I don't even know. I mean, but it's funny at the appropriate times and done in a teaching way. It's just beautifully written. I mean, it's just like, I was blown away. I was like going into it thinking she's just gonna be this young adult author that wrote, you know, the story about these. I mean, it just was not what I expected. And maybe that's the thing, is the more books I go into with no expectations, I feel like I enjoy them more. So, I don't know, maybe that's what it is for me, you know? Okay, this is actually a really fun book tag. Number 5, Expansion Packs, a series where the books kept on getting better. Oh, well, I just finished. I mean, I feel like sometimes when I do tags too much in a row, like, I give the same answers. But I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I've read a lot of series, and I don't read a lot of series because the ones I've read, I don't feel like do justice to each other. That horrible Fifth Wave series by Rick Yancey. Should have been a standalone. I hated the last 2 books. Whew, I'm out of breath. Okay, so, I just finished the As the World Dies series by Rhiannon Frater, which is a zombie series, but it's so much more than that. It's like a rebuilding of a world, relationships, you know, new birth, things like that. It's so well told. But like each book builds on the last. And I think it's because when she wrote the book, she supposedly wrote it as a much longer piece and then split it up into 3 separate books. So like the climax builds throughout the book, but it's done so well. Even if you don't like zombie books, or if zombies scare you, don't read the book because they're in there a lot. But the book is book series is so fantastically done. But like by the end, like it's over. Like, you know, like you're not like waiting for a 4th book. Like you're like, okay, it ended. Like it ends so appropriately. I was blown away with how well it was done. And she is like a completely underrated author, like for what she does out there. And that's one of my issues with a lot of times I talk on here about, you know, like authors that get like just plugged at Barnes & Noble because they're with some publishing house, everybody knows them. But other authors that are like so like well crafted at what they do and are such great storytellers, like they never get noticed because they're basically independently or self-published. And it makes me so sad. And she's one of them. I think she's fantastic. Okay. Number 6, Sims Romance, the worst case of Insta-love. Well, it's really interesting to me that all of these books get totally panned for Insta-love, but like I made a video about John Green's the Turtles All the Way Down, and I'm not reading, and every review, you have to be popular, so you have to give a good review of a John Green book. Is that the thing these days? But like everybody in there is like talking about how much they love it, but nobody is commenting on the Insta-love, and I didn't even comment on my video, but it is like Insta-love, like that. And I'm like, you guys haven't seen each other since such and such day. Now, I mean, it's too much, right? So I feel like I read a lot of books recently. I've read a lot of books recently that have Insta-love in them. I don't mind Insta-love. My book, very much, that I wrote has Insta-love in it, and I didn't even really realize it was Insta-love until somebody said it. I was like, well, but I'm kind of that person. Like, I'm saying that about John Green's book, that it surprises me that people haven't made that commentary on it. I don't mind it. I will tell you why. Because I'm the person that on a first date can tell you within 5 minutes, this is the person I want to be with for the rest of my life or I'm wasting my time. So I'm very much a believer in Insta-love. I just really am. Which is funny to me that so many people that are readers hate Insta-love, which you would think that a lot of us are kind of like romantics at heart, which is why we like buy into fantasy and stories and all this kind of stuff. But then we're so judgmental and harsh on Insta-love. It doesn't really make sense, does it? Okay, so next one, number 7, Cheats. A book that was entirely unrealistic. Ernest Cline's Ready Player One, obviously. But I mean, it's a sci-fi book, but I loved it. It was my favorite book of last year. I cannot wait to see the movie. A book that was completely unrealistic. Well, I mean, I read so many books that I'm like sitting there and I'm like, seriously? Like, okay. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I just read so many books that I feel like, I know. Well, I mean, like everything I think of, like I'm thinking We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and then I'm thinking of like this, and then I'm thinking of like Final Girls that I just finished last night. But like, they all like are like cheats, but they work for the book, if that makes sense. But I still didn't like them. You know what I mean? I just don't like being cheated as a reader. So I don't know that I have any answer, honestly. Number 8, Needs Fulfillment. A character who made all the wrong decisions. Oh my God. We're With the Band by Goldie Modofsky. That book, every single one of them constantly made bad decisions. That book was just, I was actually at the library earlier today. I love going to the library, right? I was kind of really sad. Like, is Halloween not like a holiday that people like to like celebrate for kids anymore? My sister-in-law just took the kids, my nephews, to go to Zubu at the zoo, and they got to bowl, and they were listening to that song, like, Who Took the Ghosts Out on Halloween Night? I love that song. But anyway, it's on Kid Bop's Halloween if you want it. But anyway, I was like in the JR section of like the children's books looking at the Halloween. There was nothing. There was like 2 books. And one of them was a Cheech Moran, Cheech and Chong book that I brought home because I'm going to read it for a video. We're going to do a Halloween story time with apple cider. Isn't that going to be so fun? Okay, so anyway, so get ready because I'm going to do a whole Halloween story time. You can put it on for your kids and be like, oh, here's Uncle Peter being sarcastic and cussing, but he's reading a children's book. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. So anyway, I don't know, it just makes me really sad that stuff's not there anymore. Needs to Fulfill, my character who made all the wrong decisions. Yeah, all the characters in Goldie Modofsky's Were With the Band. Oh, but when I was at the library, that's what I was going to say. I saw that her new book was out, but I'm like, if I get it now, I'm just reading scary books for October, so I'm going to read it in November. But has anybody read that, her new one? Anyway. Number 9, Error Code 12, a series that started off great but went downhill from there. Oh, Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. That series sucked. I feel like it was a free book deal that he wrote as like one standalone and then didn't know what to do with the other 2. Although I will tell you it's very, very interesting when you read that series, okay? I want to tell you what it is. Hold on. There is a documentary on Netflix right now. I just finished watching it. This will probably be the last video that you ever see me make because once I talk about this in a video, then they'll come and get me, okay? The video is called Into the Abyss, and it is... Oh, no, that's not it. That's about a serial killer. Okay, it's called Unacknowledged. Here it is. See, UFOs. And it's a documentary. It says, noted UFO expert Dr. Stephen Greer interviews witnesses and presents classified documents concerning the existence of extraterrestrials. When you get to the end of this documentary, what they talk about is literally the Rick Yancey books. So it's very interesting where he came up with that. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen another Rick Yancey book. Did he disappear? Did they get him? So anyway, you should go watch that documentary if you liked those books because you'll be like, oh, this is weird. Like, this is really how it played out in the books. So, okay. And then the Sims Vortex, number 10. A book series that completely engrossed you. Oh, God. A book or series that completely engrossed you. I feel like, well, All the Crooked Saints, I just finished. I would not say Final Girls for that. I finished it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't think it was horrible, but I didn't think it was great. Let's see what else on here. Hold on, I'm pulling up what I read on Goodreads. Go follow me on Goodreads. The As the World Dies series I thought was fantastic. The Book of David by Anonymous, which was like this gay coming out story. It's very much like Go Ask Alice or Jay's Journal or one of those called The Book of David. It was fantastic. I literally read it in like a day and a half. It was so good. So I would say that. And I would also say Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I love that book. It was, right now, besides Angie Thomas's, it's my favorite read of 2017. So definitely, if you haven't read Eliza or Monsters, go check it out. I just was engrossed completely. I will tell you, it took me like 100 pages to get into it, but after that, I just was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. So this was a really fun tag, and I didn't even have to like know anything about The Sims. That's why I love book tags so much. So get ready for my Halloween video where I read a children's book, and because it's coming. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.